Miami hosted a massive visit weekend, and they've already cashed in. They landed a big commitment from a highly coveted in-state running back, and on this video, I got a Zuby Charles from Kane Sport on to talk all the intel coming out of Miami's big visit weekend. But first, Miami fans, do me a favor and hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. Mario is starting to heat up on the trail, and we want to cover it all, so hit subscribe. On3 Recruits channel is where it's at. All right, let's bring on a Zuby Charles from Kane Sport, and we'll start with running back Gerard Pringle, the number 17 running back on the On3 industry. But On3 likes him a whole lot more, having him ranked as the number 6 back in the country. Really solid addition. You guys felt like a commitment might be coming from him this weekend, but he's been taking a bunch of visits. He recently came off a multi-day trip to Alabama just last weekend. So how was Miami able to lock it down this weekend?
Yeah, when you look at Pringle's recruitment, things have moved pretty rapidly since he was first, offered on February 19th. You have to give all that credit to new Miami running back coach Matt Merritt. During his time at USF, Pringle was his guy, even before he was ranked the top 100 prospect. And that continued, when he got the job in Miami. Like you mentioned, he's taken a lot of visits in the past few weeks. But at the end of the day, he just felt like Miami was home. And, even though he shot up a lot of recruiting boards across the country, the Canes just landed, one of the best running backs in that 2025 class. You have to give a lot of credit to Matt Merritt. So, big win for Miami, an in-state guy, like you mentioned, beat it out a lot of Power 5, programs for that commitment.
Yeah, and his recruitment to Miami wasn't the only recruitment heating up. Like, he was being contacted by schools all across the country. I mean, Bama brought him in for a multi-day visit, and I talked to Tim Watts just a couple of days ago, and they thought they were in a really good spot for him. So that's a huge addition. Let's stay in the Tampa Bay area. Wide receiver Dallas Wilson was on campus. He's an absolute stud that had committed to Oregon early, still committed to Oregon. What are your sources saying about a potential flip here? It's turning time, and I don't want you to miss any of the action for March Madness, so here's what we're going to do to watch all the games. Prime Video is streaming every tournament game live with a subscription to either Paramount or Max, and, lots of these games are on while we're at work. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to log on, sneak in these games while you're on the clock, and Prime Video has you covered. Watch every game live on your phone, on your laptop, or relax and watch it at home on Prime Video with a subscription. It's March, it's madness, and you can stream it all on Prime Video.
Yeah, Miami's been trying to get Wilson on campus for some time now, and just seeing him down in Coral Gables, I think, is a step in the right direction. Like you mentioned, committed to Oregon for, I believe, over a year now. But the Hurricanes are trying to slowly chip away at that, commitment and trying to, bring him down to Miami. He has an official visit locked in with the Hurricanes on June 7th. So there's definitely very strong interest from Wilson in his camp. And the Hurricanes love, the saying, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I think that's the approach that they're taking with Wilson, kind of slowly but surely chipping away, getting him on campus. And I think the Canes are in a great spot with him. I'm not going to say, hey, he's on flip watch right now, but I do think Miami is a really, really serious contender and one to watch in the coming months with Dallas Wilson.
Yeah, we all know how Miami recruits down the stretch. I think you take Dallas Wilson's recruitment, you kind of put it off to the side if you're a Miami fan. You got to remember that he's there and that this could be a long-term play, being that he's committed to Oregon. Now, a more conventional recruitment, that's wide receiver Jamie French. He's currently uncommitted, and he was maybe going to visit FSU this weekend. Instead, he spends multiple days down in Coral Gables. Now, he's been taking a lot of visits. Last weekend, he was at Tennessee, and he told our Austin Price that Tennessee is, quote, definitely top 3. So would you say that Miami is inside or outside of his current top 3?
Yeah, I would have to say after this visit, definitely inside that top 3. I spoke with French when he wrapped things up on Saturday, and he said he really, really needed that visit. Miami was much needed and had a big impact on the way that he viewed the Hurricanes. Since he's back off to that place to Alabama, he's been to Miami twice in the last 3 months, so there's definitely a strong interest there. And I would have to say I do believe Miami's in that top 3. The Hurricanes are right in the mix with Coach Kevin Beard leading that push, with Mario Cristobal having his hand involved in that recruitment as well. So I think Miami's definitely going to be a school to watch in the coming months for Jamie French. He told me he's looking to commit either before senior season or 3 or 4 games in. So it's kind of going to be, some time before he announced that commitment. But I do think, like Wilson, Miami's chipping away piece by piece at Jamie French, one of the best wide receivers in that 2025 class.
All right, now let's head down to South Florida where we find four-star DB Chris Ewal. Now, he was committed to Michigan for some time, reopened things after Jim Harbaugh left. Now he is trending to Miami. This has been a big three battle between FSU, UF. I mean, Michigan's still involved here, but Miami is now trending on the recruiting prediction machine. Do you think they are now the team to beat?
Yeah, I'd have to say so. Honestly, like Pringle, Saturday was his second time in Miami this spring. So, the interest is there. He's loving what he's seen from Miami. Now, I would pump the brakes on saying he's on commit watch just at this moment, just because, new defensive backs coach Tevis Jackson is kind of just establishing that relationship, but he's doing a great job of it and not only making Chris feel great, but his father as well, who's on both visits with him, and he's loving what he's seen from the Canes. And Coach Jackson, Chris is one you mentioned, like one of the best prospects not only in South Florida and the country. Miami would, love nothing more to keep him home. And I would say, they're kind of the front runner and the leader right now, and establishing themselves as the team to beat.
All right, those highlight the names of the guys that were on campus that I wanted to talk about. CaneSport did a great job of covering the entire weekend. There's so many more guys that we didn't get to. Go check out CaneSport for all that recruiting coverage. Now, I want to wrap it up by talking about linebacker TJ Alford from Vero Beach High School. He was not down at the big visit weekend this weekend, but his recruitment's about to come to an end because he's going to announce his decision on March 30th. We've always seen this as kind of an Ohio State-Miami battle. How do you read this as we're about 7 days out from his commitment?
Yeah, I would say exactly that, a Miami-Ohio State battle. And, he was on campus, I believe, the Hurricanes' second or third spring practice. And, leading up to this big day, I think Miami's on his mind. A lot of people right now are giving the edge to the Ohio State. I have to agree with that, but I'm not saying by much. I would probably say it's either 51-49 type of race, really, really close. I wouldn't be surprised if this went either way. One thing that I think is really, really keeping Miami in this race is family. Originally from Miami, has a lot of family still in Miami, and his dad is a Canes fan as well, something he told me, months ago when I first met him. That's kind of always, played in the back of his mind, playing for that hometown school, really. So definitely going to be one we watch, on March 30th when he makes that decision. But I do think it's going to be a very, very, very tight race in the end. But I have to give the small, slight advantage to Ohio State because they got the most recent visit. But I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes either way.
Yeah, it seems like at least this commitment, not saying that there's going to be another, but at least this commitment is probably going to go in Ohio State's favor. But the fact that he's from Vero Beach, Miami's going to be there until the end. So, Azubi, what a weekend out in Coral Gables. You guys did a phenomenal job of covering it down at CaneSport. Just a massive visit weekend. Like we said, Canes already cashed in with one commitment. Do you see any more coming out of this weekend in the next, 24, 48 hours?
I would say towards the end of next week, maybe on another Saturday, because they have a lot of guys coming in, these last 2 weekends of spring ball. They're really trying to get in, priority guys that they think they can move the needle with and potentially land a commitment. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see, another run on guys leading up to that spring game on April 13th. So definitely going to have a lot of stuff to monitor in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Mario's heating up on the trail as the weather heats up down in South Florida. Azubi Charles with CaneSport, thanks for stopping by the Inside Scoop today.
Thanks for having me on, Josh.
Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed that, go check out the hundreds of videos that we have on this channel, and also do me a favor, hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel.